Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to talk about some big news that's come out of Path to the Peak. Because you see, ladies and gentlemen, this is a little animated TV show, right? It's about the Pokemon TCG, and it's honestly kind of awesome. It's a really cool show. So this is lovely, and as fans of the Pokemon TCG, this is something we should be excited about. What might have happened in this is that they've actually gone and revealed some unrevealed cards. Kind of. Let me explain. So the main image we've got here is this one, wherein a character is holding a Falinks EX, a Mismagius EX, a Darkrai EX, and a Bidoof. Now, this Bidoof is actually very, 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 very important. Because you see, this is all new to us. The whole Path to the Peak thing, and we don't know is the honest answer. Are we going to be getting a bunch of new cards in here? Maybe. Is this going to use a bunch of invented cards? Maybe. We don't know, we don't have a precedent, it's only just started. So if we had a whole thing of unrevealed cards, with no real cards in there, as in cards we've seen and can confirm, that would make us think maybe they're just kind of making up cards and that's the reason for it. And we wouldn't get too excited. But the fact that this Bidoof is in there, that doesn't make a huge amount of sense unless these cards are real. This is the lovely Kato Bidoof, I should say, from Brilliant Stars. Big fan of this Kato Bidoof. Big fan of Kato artwork generally. And the reason why the Bidoof is so gosh darned important is because we've got a real card mixed in with these other cards, which would imply that they are real cards. Now, I cannot stress this enough right at the beginning. This is extremely important. We don't know. These could just be invented for the TV show. These might not actually be real cards. Cannot stress that enough. There is a good chance they're real cards. Again, the existence of the Bidoof in this image really is a key point for me. However, we do not know for certain these are new real cards. Cannot stress that enough. Good? Good. Because what we've got here are 3 new EXs, one with Falinks, one with Mismagius, and one with Darkrai. And as to whether they're new cards or not, it's very, very easy. There are no cards that these could be, either in English or Japanese. I mean, we'll start off with Falinks here. Now, I should mention, we don't have good looks at these. Like, even where they're zoomed in on the TV show, they are clearly, I mean, centered isn't really the right word, but take a look at this close look at Mismagius. I want to say 2 energy 70, but you're not going to read the ability from that. It's literally impossible. It's not there. So yeah. Sorry about that. But if we go back to Falinks for a second, we had Falinks V. That wasn't a dramatic pause, incidentally, that was it. We had Falinks V. I do need to give a shout out to the Falinks from Astral Radiance, the lovely special art rare, or character rare as it was. No, yeah, character rare. That's what it was called, which is stunning and amazing, and I love it, because it's got B on, and I'm a big fan of B. However, yeah, that wasn't exactly like an EX or a GX, etc. And Falinks is quite a new Pokemon. So, well, I mean, not terribly new, you know what I mean, last couple gens. And my point here is that this is definitely a new card, if it's a real card, which I believe it is. Otherwise, it would be a waste of time doing the video. But again, I've said it once, let me say it again nice and clearly for those in the back. We do not have confirmation these are real cards. There is a chance these have been invented for the TV show. Now, in terms of what this Falinks is, we don't have a great look. We know there's no ability. We know there is a single energy attack that does a bit of damage. I want to say single energy attack. And then we've got a bigger attack with some kind of effect coming in later. I personally want this to be good. I am a huge fan of Falinks as a Pokemon. I think it's great. I actually really like the Falinks V because, well, it said all your Pokemon with Falinks in their name. That's the V and the normal. Take 20 less from your opponent's attacks. Don't forget we had the team attack Falinks in Rebel Clash as well, which never actually ended up being good, but did have a huge potential. You know, 2 energy, 30 damage for each of your bench Pokemon that had Falinks in its name. Beast in the pre-release if you could get enough of these, incidentally. And I don't know if I'm like the last person in the world here, but I am a gigantic fan of the Falinks from Battle Styles with Rapid Strike Squad. 20 damage for each of your Rapid Strike Pokemon in play, but crucially it's for, well, what can be a single energy with a Rapid Strike energy on a basic Pokemon, so it can be used turn 1 going second. So yeah, big fan of this one, ladies and gentlemen. Big fan of this one. So I personally hope this is going to be a great card. I want it to be a great card. I have absolute faith that it will be a good card. Or at least I will treat it like a good card. We can't actually say for certain whether it will be or not. We all know I'm going to overrate it because I love Falinks. That's all I can do. Now, Darkrai is a very interesting one because whether this ends up being real or not, we know there's going to be a Darkrai EX. Because there's always a Darkrai. We always get a Darkrai. Darkrai, I did have the opportunity to speak to the game director of the Pokemon card game. Oh, there's going to be a couple of videos about that, don't you worry. When I visited Creatures recently, and I flat out asked him about, you know, is Darkrai a favourite of yours because it gets so many good cards in the game? And he was like, yep. So yeah, there we go. Of course, we had Darkrai V-Star in Astral Radiance. Hasn't proven to be quite as good as some were hoping, but it's top cut tournaments here and there, let's be clear. And let's not forget we had Umbreon and Darkrai Tag Team GX. And of course, Darkrai got a GX. I'm not going to keep going back, alright? I'm not doing it. Darkrai is one of those Pokemon, because it's liked by the game director, who gets better cards. Well, no, not better cards, more cards. Darkrai doesn't get forgotten. So there was always going to be a Darkrai EX at some point. It was inevitable, and I feel extremely confident that it's going to be good. Because here's the thing. Even when they're not out-and-out game-breaking, and sometimes they are out-and-out game-breaking, Darkrai EX still reigns as one of, and I mean this very sincerely when I say this, one of the very, very best cards ever printed, ever. One Worlds in 2013, one Worlds in 2012. You see where I'm going with this. Darkrai is, the EX, one of the very, 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 very best cards ever printed, with no hint or word of an exaggeration. So, hopefully this one's going to end up being pretty gosh darn good as well, if you're a Darkrai fan. We don't have a huge amount of information about it, unfortunately. We don't have a great look at it. It could have an ability. In fact, it looks like it does have an ability, which shouldn't really surprise anybody here. Obviously, Darkrai EX had an ability. Darkrai GX had an ability. And Darkrai V-Star, well, it kind of had an ability V-Star power, but it still totally counts. So Darkrai having an ability is totally on brand. So this makes perfect sense. And then we've got Mismagius. Now, this one we've actually got a better look at, which is lovely. But all we know is it's got an ability and 2 energy, I want to say 70. So the playability of Mismagius will depend pretty much entirely on what we're doing in terms of the ability and how good the ability actually is. Now, Mismagius is not one of these Pokemon that tends to get the fancy cards. We did have Mismagius GL Level X back in Rising Rivals, and that was it. That was the only kind of chase card Mismagius has ever had. So frankly, the fact that Mismagius is getting a chase card at all is genuinely a big deal, because Mismagius generally doesn't get the chase cards. I hope the ability is good if you're a Mismagius fan. For me, I've made no secret of it. I'm rooting hard for Falinks here. Falinks should be cool, but I want to know what you think. I want to know if you're watching Path to the Peak. I want to know how awesome you think the TV show is, because let's face it, it's awesome. We have an animated TV series, or, you know, animated series. I don't know if TV series is right nowadays, but we have an animated series about the Pokemon TCG, and it might be revealing unrevealed cards, and that is redonk. I just wish we had a better look at them. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about all of this, so go nuts in the comment section, but be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.